What is up? Bear down. It is Hall of Fame week. Just got kicked off today. The Hall of Fame game tonight. Carl is sick. We have a half an hour to go before the show. We brought on Adam Mason. We're going to have a great time breaking down a little bit of the game today. But I kind of want to talk a little bit about the kickoff rules that we're going to see for the first time, the new ones. Guys, how you doing?
I'm great.
So good.
Excellent. Let's just get right to the point. We want to thank everyone for joining us tonight in the chat. By the way, we're brought to you by BetUS and PSF. Go check those two out. Sign up for 125% sign-up bonus on BetUS. Let's keep going. We got 28 minutes now.
Wait, I got to be clear real quick. You said Carl's sick. Are you saying he's sick in the head and he's finally realized it, or he's actually sick?
Well,
Both.
obviously he's sick in the head, but
A little bit of both.
he's actually physically sick this time.
Oh, okay. So he hasn't realized it yet.
His sick in the head has overtaken his actual physical being. So, guys, I'm jacked up. I know you guys are too, right? Let's talk about it. First game of the season. Listen, there's a lot of things that have come out since Caleb has been drafted, and he was basically given the keys to the offense well before they knew what was going on. By the way, we just got Torrey Taylor for nothing on the roster. He doesn't count to the 53-man roster. Free roster spot. Now there's another extra guy. Poles is a genius. We have this.
Whoa.
Let me finish. Poles is a genius. We have this extra game, and I don't blame them for not wanting to show off Caleb because they have that extra game. Why give one more game of film on Caleb? Go.
So what do you mean he doesn't count on the roster spot?
I think you're wrong on that one.
No,
he doesn't count against the 90-man roster, and we can if we keep him on the practice squad, we can have 17 on the practice squad and not 16. But the 53-man roster can only be 53 still.
Are you ruining my hopes and dreams right now?
Sorry.
Yeah, what are you talking about? He doesn't count on the
honest
roster.
information, Dan. It's
This came from
We still love you.
Greg Gabriel.
Did he say that? Maybe I'm wrong.
What did
we
he say
can't have
exactly?
54.
Because he's not a U.S. citizen, he doesn't count against the roster, the 53-man roster.
No,
There's
he's an
another
international exemption, which means we can carry a 91st on the 90-man roster. But when it comes time to cut down, unless we put him on the practice squad, we can't keep an extra. On the practice squad, just like who was the tackle last year? What was that tackle's name? Anyways, the tackle we had last year was an international exemption too.
Yep.
So we could carry 17 on the practice squad, but unless he's on the practice squad, he doesn't give us a. But for right now, it gives us an extra guy.
The statue, it was already being built for Poles, but I was about to gold plate it with that one.
You can still gold plate it. This team is.
Now it's just silver.
I was just telling Shorty, like I have butterflies because for the first time, I legit feel like we're Super Bowl contenders. Like before, it's like I hope we can make the playoffs
Already?
I'm just saying, PJ, don't go crazy with that. I'm just saying, if you make the playoffs, look at what the Eagles have done in the past. And some of these, once you squeak in, if you've got a talented roster, which we have, it's not just like we're the Packers of last year that just squeaked in and they're lucky if they win a game. If you squeak in, wild card teams can win the Super Bowl.
Right.
So I'm just saying, if we squeak, if we get in the playoffs, this is a talented team. I feel like we legit, we're a legit playoff contender at least. Everybody should agree on that. So
I got you Caleb Williams jersey.
I mean, you get hot, you get everything. We get that continuity, everything running on the right cylinders at the end of the season.
That's
you
all
get
that
in the
matters.
playoffs.
See,
You could go all the way. It's
you guys
possible.
going to make me feel bad.
Nah, I don't feel
You
bad.
shouldn't. Hey, PJ, I haven't talked to you for a while. I'm going to tell you, my brother is giving me some very solid level back to earth advice. In fact, I was going to have him on sometime, but he's helping me to realize we got to take this one game at a time with the rookie. He's a lot like you, and you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just take it one game at a time. Let's give PJ a little break because Anyways, back to
because let me say this. I have warmed up to Caleb a little bit. I mean, in the sense of, because I'm all about show me on the field. You guys know that. But listening to him, I'm warming up to him, because one thing I don't do is I just don't get all excited about a person who I really haven't seen play in the NFL. That's just not.
Yeah. We know. But who's going to play tonight?
what I'm saying, though,
Just
is
saying it's possible, Peach.
I mean,
It's possible.
I'm
concerned with more so the interior offensive line still, as I have been for like a year.
PJ, you're repeating yourself on end. Like, it's just I don't mean to interrupt you, but we only have a short bit of time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you something. But I'm trying to tell you something.
Summarize it.
Well, what I'm trying to say,
what I said.
We have to be able to see it on the field, and more of my concern than Caleb is Eberflus. That's where my real concern comes from, because when we start talking about making the playoffs and making a deep run in the playoffs, if Eberflus isn't playing his guys to where they're ready to hit come game one, I'm concerned about our season. That's why we started off 0-4 last year.
You know what I say? I say sign Eberflus to an extension now. Here's why. Hear me out. I'll make it quick. You got a rookie quarterback. You want to put faith in that quarterback's eyes that we're doing the right thing. We have confidence in this coach. Eberflus looks like he stepped out of into a different dimension. The guy looks and acts like a totally different person. I'm sure Hard Knocks has a little bit to do with that. He's on camera. He's kind of being coached, I'm sure, by professionals. Just loosen up, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure that some of that is happening. But he's also growing from that. And he's growing from that in the previous 2 seasons. And now he's like a much more confident coach. He's I was watching that interview and I thought to myself, this guy is a totally different guy. And then one of the reporters asks, you're like a totally different guy. And he just says, it's repetition. So I'm saying, why not just give him an extension?
What
at
if
least
it's
give him a
bipolar?
2-year extension.
I don't know. I don't know
You're
about
saying
that.
that you don't think that PJ. You're saying you don't think Flus he's still on the hot seat in your.
Well, I say if he doesn't have a successful season, I could see a scenario where he could get fired.
Then he's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Foster, is he on the hot seat?
It's like Pete is saying. It depends on this season, man.
Adam,
if we don't start off, I mean, looking at the schedule, we've done this a dozen times. If we don't start off at least 500 in the first, I forgot how many games it is. It's probably just the first 4 or 5, 4 or 6. It all depends, man. And I don't know about signing him to a long term. You've got the offensive coordinator. What if that works out better? There's too many factors that go into it. I could in 20 directions, man. So that's just me though. There's my changing who I am every 3 times a day, dude.
You're a shapeshifter.
So
yeah. No, I don't know about that.
One, there's no way we extend him before we make the playoffs. Once we clinch a playoff berth, I can see it happening. 2, there's no way we don't make the playoffs. Maybe I'm being a Bears homer with that comment. Maybe I'm being too much of a fan, but there's no way we don't make the playoffs. Could we start 0-2? I talked about this with Shorty. Yeah, we could start 0-2, and I'm still comfortable. I'm confident in this team. But the thing is, if Eberflus, if Rick Grimes doesn't make the playoffs with this roster, he's definitely on the hot seat, 100%. This roster is built like we haven't seen in a decade with this team, 100%. He's on the hot seat if we don't make the playoffs.
Now, my question becomes, if we're not playing our starters in the preseason and we come out flat, do you guys see a scenario where we could end up starting the season off 0-4 because we're not ready like we did last year?
I'm going to interject. I don't think that they're actually going to not play the starters in the preseason. I think that we're playing the Texans the second game of the season. So why would we want to normally those are teams, that we don't normally we play the Browns a lot, right? In the preseason, we don't normally play them in the regular season. So the fact that this is 2 games in, that's only 4 weeks away. So yeah. I know it's all going to be vanilla tonight, but there is still some things you can engage. So especially with the quarterback, and everyone wants to see him play. Well, why? So they're going to be looking at from the other perspective of breaking everything down. and they're going to have those original mannerisms to work off of and compare to, as every game that they prepare for the next game that they play them, whatever that might be. Super Bowl, who knows? But I at first I was upset about them not playing Caleb or the starters, but now I fully understand why. Makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think they should play him anyway. This is an extra game that you normally don't have. So let's see who's not and who might be someone to be hot on.
100%.
You know what I mean? We're gonna. This is a time to look at what you have for depth and on the bench, and these guys these UDFAs and the guys you brought in to possibly take a position or move up in the depth chart. That's what this game is for, man. So I mean, and then what I don't want to do, Peach, is what we've done, and we've talked about this the last couple of years, is hardly play him in the next 3 games and give him nothing in the 3rd game. Like not even going to where taking them out. They're in the middle of a series up. Well, they just played, 15 minutes, but they've only played 8 plays in the last game of the preseason. Let them at least play a whole damn drive together, something of volume together, continuity, as we've talked about for years.
Well, the part I have to say about that is I think that him being a rookie quarterback, him being in the shotgun his whole college career, I think having him play one series tonight would have been beneficial for him to get used to the cadence, get used to huddle calls. You get real live game experience. One series, get him acclimated to it. And but so I disagree with that. So I mean, I understand you guys' point. I ain't trying to show the Texans nothing either. But for Caleb's development, I think playing one series would have helped him.
I can see both ways. Here's the downfall. I got to throw it in there. Obsessive Connor Williams watch. If Connor Williams was our center, I can agree with you. But what you're hearing at camp is Coleman Shelton has a bad day. Then Ryan Bates has a bad day. Going back and forth. You got your rookie quarterback without an established guy who is our starter and having a couple hiccups. You could take a couple snaps and one thing could go Aaron Rodgers on us from last season. And then all of a sudden in the preseason, he's hurt. So I can see both ways. I would have liked to see him for one series, but we do have the extra game. So I'm not upset that he's not playing tonight, but I can understand it.
Hey, it's a Tyson Bagent show.
And Austin Reed.
Yeah.
I heard he's been doing well.
Yeah.
Austin Reed.
I hate to burst your bubble, Shorty, but a lot of people think Austin Reed can upend Tyson Bagent.
Austin Reed.
That's what you said last year about Tyson Bagent.
No, I loved Tyson Bagent last year.
Not until he showed up.
I loved it from the minute that we were watching the draft when they signed him as a UDFA and they were showing I loved his flick of the wrist and shit.
So why don't you feel the same way about Austin Reed?
His arm strength wasn't there. He had the flick. That beautiful touchdown, I think it was to Kmet in the right corner of the end zone last year. Beautiful. I think it was against the Saints, right? If I'm wrong.
It wasn't beautiful.
If I'm wrong, correct me. But it was a beautiful pass. But he doesn't have that 15, 20-yard out zip that he needs. And if this dude's been, training like he says, blowing his brains out training, then I would hope that his arm strength would be able to develop based on all those muscles he should be working out. So that's really what I'm looking forward to seeing tonight. How much stronger did his arm get? Because for me, honestly, Tyson Bagent is a commodity. He's an asset. He is someone that you got for nothing, that if you can develop and you can showcase to the world that this, and even put into people's minds like a Jimmy Garoppolo, you can get a 2nd-round pick for. So why wouldn't we want to hope that his arm is stronger, hope that he has a great game tonight, because that's only going to help to drive up his stock for, what is the undrafted rookie free agent contract? 3 years, 4 years?
3 years, then restricted. Okay. Basically, we can keep him if somebody else gives him an offer if we match it.
Right. So the more he gets to showcase in this preseason, the better.
Well, I'm in favor. I don't dislike Tyson Bagent. I'm just hearing that Austin Reed might upend him with his natural ability. Tyson's very good too, and I really hope he has a good game tonight. Two.
I got that from Chris Watts, by the way. We were hanging out and I said something about France. He was like, France?
Two.
It can be a good problem to have because we've never had this problem.
Hey, Adam, did you see that video too on YouTube with the Hawk Tour?
I've seen a lot of stuff on the Hawk Tour. That's one video we won't be showing my little girls.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all, sir. Not at all.
So we got that aside. What for those of you that do not know about the new kickoff rules, I kind of want to talk about that because that's going to be showcased tonight for the first time in the NFL. That's another exciting point that I'm looking forward to seeing tonight. And because I really, truly believe that this is going to dramatically affect the game more than anyone can possibly imagine. I was talking to my buddy. He's like, does this mean that you don't necessarily have to have a superstar quarterback anymore? Because if the team that you're playing drives down the field and boom, they score a touchdown and now they're up by 2 and then they kick the ball back off to you and you run it back for a touchdown or the kicker can stop you at the 25-yard line, now you win. So there's going to be a lot of teams that might not have otherwise or should have won those games that are going to win those games this season. And I think that people need to take that into account when they're playing their fantasy leagues. Not that I play a fantasy league, but if you do, look for those. This is a whole different element with special teams now. They have to scheme like an offense and a defense at the same time. It's radically different. Do you guys know all of the rules?
Yeah, I did a video on it. You're going to make me dig into my brain, but it's complex, but I don't think you're going to see Velus Jones back there tonight. I want to, but I don't think the Bears are going to tip their hand. So every team right now doesn't know how other teams are going to defend it or play it.
Right.
So I don't think you're going to see in the preseason true hands. I think you're going to see the normal, and sorry to jump into without explaining the rules of it, but I think you're going to see on the return the normal 9 guys right there at the 35-yard line and the other 2 guys lined back without any special variations. You're not going to see any trick plays or handoffs or reverses. I think you're going to see vanilla tonight, and everyone's going to be excited for it, but I don't think it's going to be I'm excited. I want to see something cool, but I think that's one of the big when you hide your cards, that's one thing teams have coming into the season. You're not going to want to show in the preseason this brand new rule. So I've already said I think Velus Jones Jr. is going to be a return leader. You talk about Torrey Taylor being a weapon because the field position game is important. A lot of people don't realize Velus Jones last year gave us an extra 6 yards above the average. Like he was one of the highest returners, 27.2 or 0.4 yards per return, and that's about 6 yards. That's 6 yards field position. So, yeah, he's super valuable.
Yeah. But it's going to be so interesting because either you're going to go, well, screw it, we're going to kick the ball out of the end zone. They're going to get the ball at the 30. A 10-yard difference, what is that really? If you have a top leg kicker in the league and who can kick from the 40, and get a field goal, that's only a 30-yard drive. At the worst, it's a 40-yard drive. It's now a game of inches.
That wasn't completely accurate either. So it's going to take a lot of precision. If you kick it into the end zone, it's the 30-yard line. If you kick it out of the end zone, it's the 40-yard line.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I have to go off my memory. I did a whole video on it.
I just read this like 2 days ago.
Out of bounds and out of the back of the end zone, 40 yards.
Even Wanstead was on NBC talking about how it should be a 40-yard rule. Somebody else I was talking to said it should be the 40-yard line, not the 30-yard line. So I
can be wrong on that.
I mean, to call you out on that.
But I know out of bounds for sure is 40 yards. I think if they just boot it away out of the end zone, I think it's 42. But I could be wrong. That could be the 30-yard line. But I know if it rolls into the end zone, it's 30-yard line.
No, if you catch it at the 2 and you fumble it and it goes into the end zone and you down it, it's at the 20. If you catch it if you catch it at the 2-yard line, you have to run it out. If you catch it in the end zone and you down it, it's at the 30-yard line. If it goes over your head out of bounds of the end zone, it's at the 30-yard line.
Okay, I could be wrong on that. So what you just said though is perplexing me. If you catch it at the 2 and you fumble it into the end zone, it comes out to the 30?
To the 20.
I think it comes out to the 2. That's where all this nuance comes in. I think wherever you touch it, if you choose not to return it at that point, if you touch it before it goes into the end zone, so say he grabs it at the 2 and then fumbles it out, it goes back. If you choose not to return it, it's where they picked it up.
Okay,
so there's a special zone.
I'm gonna read this right now from Fox Sports.
Okay.
With the new rule, kickers will still kick off from their own 35-yard line. However, the 10 other members of the kicking team will line up at the opposing team's 40-yard line.
Okay.
The return team will have at least 9 blockers
between the 30 and 35
lined up in the setup zone between the 30 and 35-yard line, okay, with at least 7 of those players touching the 35.
Okay, so they can have 2 back on the 30.
Right, only 2 can be passed. Right. So there would be up to 2 returners allowed inside the 20. Only the kicker and 2 returners would be allowed to move until the ball hits the ground or is touched by a returner inside the 20. Boom.
Correct.
Now you've got false start penalties. What is that going to do? Because everyone has to line up on that line at the 40. And if there's a false start before the ball hits the ground, right? What's that going to have? So many different things to take into consideration. Yeah. Any kick that reaches the end zone in the air can be returned, or the receiving team can opt for a touchback and a possession at the 30.
Correct.
Any kick that reaches the end zone in the air and goes out of bounds or goes out of the end zone would also result in a touchback at the 30.
Right. But if you touched it the 2, see this is where we're getting into the
here
crazy details of it. Go ahead.
If a ball hits a returner or the ground before the end zone and goes into the end zone, a touchback would be at the 20, or the play could be returned. Okay. So if it hits the 5 and bounces into the end zone, they can take it and run it out, or they could down it in the end zone and it would go to the 20.
Okay.
So all the different schematics that are going to be going into scheming these things. Let's have the ball. I'm wondering, do we want to have Torrey Taylor actually kick off balls?
They're considering it. That's what I don't think they'll show that in the preseason. We could have Cairo kicking him off all preseason, and then game 1, Torrey's going to get back there and punt it because he's more precision.
And what do you want the most? Do you want to try to put the ball in their hands and have your guys try to stop him? Because they can't move until that guy touches the ball or the ball hits the ground. So all that comes into play.
And just like Bayless Jones said, you give him a hole, he's gone. And that's the thing. Maybe teams won't return to or kick to Bayless Jones. Maybe they'll put it back in the end zone.
What would you do if you had Devin Hester back there? This is so interesting that these
end zone every time.
These rules are changing like they are right now as Devin Hester is going into the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, what would you do with Devin Hester? Would you kick to him or just kick it out of bounds and take the ball at the 30?
Not out of bounds because that's the 40, but I'd put it in the end zone every time. I'd put it to the back of the end zone.
No, it's the 30. Any kick that reaches the end zone can be returned.
But out of bounds is 40-yard line. So if you go left and right, we're not talking the back, we're talking out of bounds. To the left and to the right. Look for the out of bounds part.
It said
So I just pulled it up. So kickoff short of the landing zone would be treated like a kickoff out of bounds, and the receiving team so that's also the out of bounds, but would be at the ball's own 40-yard line. So out of bounds and short. So if they try to get cute and put it at the very front of that landing zone, the 0 to 20-yard zone, if they're short of that, then it's treated like it's out of bounds.
Huh.
So that comes out to the 40. So you can't kick it out of bounds. But if Hester's back there, if Bayless is back there, I'm putting it in the end zone every time. Let him come to the 30-yard line. 5 yards. It's better than return it to the house.
So what do you guys do, Peach?
With Hester,
No, just in this current situation, like, what do you think about these rules? How do you think that they're going to change the game? What's the best scenario for kicking off right now?
Well, I think it depends on the quarter and whatnot, but I would risk kicking it off until I know for sure whether or not my team is good enough to defend it. Because I mean, giving up 30 yards, I'd rather hey, I kick it off to you. You return it from the 1 yard line, and if you show me that you getting out to the 50 every time, okay, now I'm going to start kicking it and making sure you don't return it.
Foster, go.
I'm with you, PJ. I this preseason is the time to find out what you have, whether it's covering the kick or returning the kick or kicking off. So I kind of feel I would feel things out. I'd be making sure somebody's got that ball at not kicking it in the end zone to begin with to see what is actually going to happen.
Right.
Because this is where did this come from? USFL?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or XFL, really.
Whatever. It came from that league, the new league, or one of those leagues even the year before. It doesn't matter. But I would want to see what would happen with NFL players. So it's feeling it out, man, for me. And the preseason, it's good to have the extra game just for that reason, if not anything else. To see how this really works, because you're going to get the Texans and the Bears are going to should get more experience, live experience with this than any other teams. So it's a benefit. But I would be exactly like you're saying, PJ. I'd have to feel this thing out, man.
Hit that one.
I want him to get the ball right off the bat and keep going. Sorry.
Where KEU says, wait, does this basically get rid of onside kicks, or do you have to declare it or something? So that's really interesting. You can't onside kick till the fourth quarter. You can't do it unless you're down. You can't be up an onside kick, and you do have to declare it. You have to let them know, and then it goes back to the standard format where you're kicking off from the same zone as we did last year, the 10 yards away, and it's a normal onside kick. It's so weird.
Yeah, there's no coming out in the second half of the Super Bowl and doing an onside kick anymore.
No surprises.
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, which I don't like. I don't like that part at all, because I think that takes away some of the gamemanship that you have to declare. I mean, football's anticipation and trying to guess what your opponent's doing. When they have to declare, you take that element away.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're about 2 minutes away from the game beginning. Great pregame with you guys. A lot of people watching. We appreciate you guys. Hope you like this. If you do, please subscribe. We've got
148 in the chat.
Got a lot of great stuff coming up this season.
Is no one going live for this tonight then?
I guess not. Everyone's here. By the way, let's get the chat really quick. Thigh and Smy, hope you're feeling better. J2K, KEU, great to see you again, my friend.
Doug Van Dorn, Jason UK.
Jason UK. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you really quick.
Eric Harper.
Cliff Victoria is currently at the game.
So cool.
Oh man, that's what's up, Cliff. That's what's up, Cliff. Man, congratulations, Cliff.
Cliff represent, man.
And he also has let's see. I got one more.
7. Campus.
Dude, I'm watching the pregame right here on mute, and I'm watching Caleb Williams throw, and it is a freaking thing of beauty. Like,
it's so beautiful.
Oliver Chapman, Jeremy Munoz,
Creighton Wilfong, Bruja,
AC Adam,
Eric Harper,
Eduardo Isaac Rodriguez M,
Don Burr,
Steve S. Don Burr, good to see you.
Great.
Armando Lara Jr.
Armando.
Joining us. Armando.
Ah, thanks for joining us, Armando.
King Buka World.
AC Adam. Oh, the game's about to start.
All right. Game's about to start, fellas. Appreciate you guys for joining us. Thank you very much. Adam, appreciate you guys joining us, man.
Adam, we appreciate you hanging out with us tonight, man. Thank you so much for your time.
This is where I want to hang out. I told you guys before this, I get too much into the stats and analysis and nerdy stuff. I love coming in here and having a good time. If anybody invites me onto their show, it's BCP is where I want to go, because this is just fun. I enjoy coming and hanging out with you guys. It's fun.
I appreciate that.
That's the ultimate compliment. That's the
Yes.
ultimate compliment. That's what
Yep.
we want the show to be fun first and then Bears second, right? And then fun and Bears. Bears and fun, fun and Bears. Armando Lara Jr., Primo, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Great to see you in our chat tonight. Guys, enjoy the game. Unfortunately, this is normally our Thursday night show, but after this, I have to go to bed after the game. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. We'll see you next Thursday, and let's end this on a 1, 2,
I told you,
3
man. Whining, sniveling, get.
Bears. And it's on a 1, 2, 3 Bears. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Go Bears!
Bears.